Eternal MMA welterweight contender, Aldin Bates. What's going on, Aldin? How's life right now? What's going on in your city?
Life's good. Life's good, brother. John, it's good, mate. Yeah, just living life. Good. I have the biggest fight of my life in 2 weeks. Just getting everything sorted, get everything in line to make sure it all runs nice and smoothly, which it has done up to now. So
That's good to hear, man. Well, Australia, they've been affected pretty badly, it seems like, on the news. That's what it looks like. I don't know exactly because I don't live there. How has
yeah,
your life been? How has your life been affected by it?
I would say where I am, I'm in Perth, so we've been affected probably the least out of any city in the world, to be quite honest with you. So, I understand there's a pandemic going on around the world. A lot of people are suffering in it, and it's not good for everybody. But for us, it actually is pretty good. So, I've got no complaints. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope stuff gets better for everyone, and everyone's keeping their head above water. But for us in Perth, there isn't very much change. Besides the travel ban, there is no change. The life's normal. Go out to dinner, you go out, drinks, you can do whatever you want. The gyms have been open and pretty much the whole time. I think the gym closed for a couple of weeks, which a few of the boys managed to come together and we sorted out our own thing. But yeah, life's good.
The past couple of years, interviewing fighters in Australia and talking to people in Australia, they always say Perth, man, it's so far away, man. It's way over there. It's away from everybody.
Yeah.
But it works out for you in this aspect, right? Like what has happened, everybody should be living in Perth.
Pretty much. It's I think it's the most secluded city in the world. And right now, when there's a pandemic going around killing people, I think it's not a bad place to be honest. But yeah, it is very secluded. It's very isolated. But at the end of the day, you're a flight away from anywhere you want to go in the world. So it's good. It's a good place to live. It's a beautiful place to live. Yeah, it's good.
Always heard good things about Perth, man. But the show is in Perth, your hometown. Eternal MMA 53 main event, the first show back during the COVID era with a crowd.
Yeah.
That's something that's important to say, with the crowd.
Yeah.
And was this fight in the works the whole year?
As in from the beginning of the year?
Exactly. Like, was this going to be the fight to make?
Before COVID, I probably wouldn't have had the fight, to be honest. I've had a number one contender fight with Glenn Pettigrew May last year, not the May just gone. It was over a year ago. So that was a number one contender fight to then obviously go on and fight Jack. And Glenn beat me in a decision win, which is props to Glenn. It was a very good strategy. A few things went wrong on my behalf, which I will never make excuses for a fight. But the people close know what was going on. I was in between. You're moving gyms, different stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, Glenn beat me. Fair play. Glenn's the better man. So yeah, so I was the plan was to beat Glenn and then fight Jack. And then obviously I lost to Glenn on decision. My only decision to date. And so I missed out on the title fight, and then COVID hit, and then it looks like I got the title fight in the end anyway. So for me personally, it all worked out. I would have liked to have beat Glenn and demanded the title shot, but with the world the way it is, with no travel, and I don't know who Della would have fought otherwise. I'm there and thereabouts. I've always been in that top echelon of guys. So, and I've beat Jack in the past, so it makes sense. It makes money. It makes sense.
Of course, man. I talked to Jack a couple of days ago, and he was telling me that he was at that fight, and he was actually rooting for you to win that fight, so you could fight him.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I would imagine he would be. I would imagine that's how he'd be thinking. If which Jack is, he's a competitor, he's a fighter. At the end of the day, if someone's beat me in a game in a board game, I can't sleep, I can't settle with it. I beat Jack in a fight. I think his coach Ben was saying that he was only a boy then, and he was all new to the whole fighting game. I'd had 2 fights. I had 1 amateur, 1 pro. He'd had 1 fight before me, so I was on. It was my 3rd fight. It was his 2nd fight. So yeah, it was. I think he was saying that he was brand new to it, but I think I'd had 1 more fight than him. So I think I'd look at it and say we're both new to it, to be honest. But yeah, I'd be thinking that he'd want a rematch to get it back, to try and get it back. Yeah.
No doubt, man. That's something
I
that
feel the same.
you know, when you hold the cards, that's one of the cards you're gonna play, right? To get what you want. That's what you need to do.
100%, 100%. At the end of the day, from my point of view, yeah, it's all worked out. You've got the chance. You've got the chance to take what I believe is mine. And if you obviously, I'm guessing you would have done a fair bit of homework and stuff like that. And I actually won the number 1 contender fight back in 2017, 2018, and I got injured, and it was Della that took the title fight then, and he's won it, and he's had it ever since. So you talk, if he's saying, or if he believes I don't deserve the fight, he took the title shot I should have had 3 years ago. And he's done well up to then, and he's been winning fights, and he's been knocking people out. But that should have been my fight. I should be the title. I should be doing everything he's had now. So depends whose side you want to look at it from. That's my belief. So he took my title shot. He won the fight. He's done well to keep it. And yeah, so yeah, makes for an exciting fight.
It makes sense, man. Exactly what you just said. You know, that on top of the COVID era and the travel restrictions, and you know, you have that win over him, and it all makes sense. I like the fight. It's a great fight to put in for the main event. Now, you just recently moved to I don't know if it was recently, but you moved to Wolf's Den. Why did you decide to move over there?
Okay, so yeah, we kind of moved. I moved across during the COVID, probably the height of it, kind of thing. Basically, the head coach there, Steve Walton, good friend. I've trained with Steve for a long time, for a fair few years, and before it was the Wolves Den, it was kind of, I don't know how you look at it, like a franchisee. It was 2 gyms in different areas split, so it was all under one banner. But then Steve has branched off and started to create his own enterprise, his own gym, and a few of my coaches, some of my head coaches left. Some of the fighters have left. My old gym, yeah, there's not many pro fighters in the gym, so it just made sense for me to leave. And like I say, I get on with Steve very well. He puts a lot of time into his fighters. So I think that's the main thing. I left because of Steve to go, and some of the other coaches, Danny, for example, and the time they put in is next to none. They give up a lot of time for the fighters. So yeah, that's the reasoning behind it. That's the main reasoning. Obviously, different people can say different things, but you're always going to get 2 sides of a story. But from my point of view and my opinion, that's why I left, because Steve and Danny and a lot of the pro fighters had left the gym I was at.
So you go over there, you're training with, you know, another crop of up and coming fighters. Who have you been working with mostly? Like, you know, the main training partners, sparring partners.
So it's quite lucky, really. It's quite a funny story. So the Glenn Pettigrew, he's one of my main training partners now. Yeah. So, which is, you couldn't make that up. You couldn't ask for a better intel to have. I've never had this in my life. I've actually become very good friends with Glenn. He's a real good lad. Like, I've had him round my house. We've sat round in my house with exactly where we're sitting now, with my head coach, Steve Walton, with Danny, another head coach, and Glenn, and we've watched my last 4 or 5 fights. We've watched Glenn's last 4 or 5 fights, and we've watched Della's last 4 or 5 fights, and just broke it down and put all our input and opinion to how it's gone and why it's gone. And It's you couldn't make that up. You couldn't if you knew any fighter that's to hear another brain of the person you fought, win or lose. Same with Jack. I know Jack's obviously got his opinions on the first fight, but me and Jack spoke straight away on the same night of the fight, and we spoke back and forth, and you can throw punches and you can land punches and you can attempt submissions, but to hear it from the other side is it's a strange feeling to say, I don't know, you can land a big shot or you don't think it's a big shot, but to them it was a big shot and they're trying to poker face it, and to hear them kind of intel secrets and stuff, it's good. So but Glenn's there, obviously Steve's the head coach, Danny, the up and coming guys. We've got Cam Armstrong who was fighting that night. We got Rowan Gray and Kev. So they're three absolute killers that are fighting. The main thing about the gym I'm at now, there's constant fighters, there's constant fight shows happening. Whenever you go in the gym, somebody is fighting. So you're in fight camp with them. Even if you come in and you feel sloppy and you feel like, I don't feel it today, you have to put it on because somebody else is fighting. So it's a good little family, a little clique that's going on, that's building, and I love it down there, to be honest. It's a really good gym, really good. Yeah, it's amazing.
You having a win over him, a finish over Della, do you feel like there is a psychological edge heading into this fight?
Yes and no. Yes and no, because I've been in this position before. I fought at the time the best in Perth, which is Nick Wood, he was annihilating everyone in Australia, everyone they put in front of him, he annihilated them, and he beat me in an amateur MMA fight, and it was said an amateur. I don't know what the difference was. It was the same round, same gloves, same rules, but it was amateur. Whatever. But anyway, Nick, he finished me, and it sat wrong with me for so many years. And I don't know Nick personally, but I just hated him for that. It's a sport, I understand, and he got the better of me that night, and it is what it is. But I knew going into that fight with a rematch how much emotionally it meant to me for that fight. And I don't know if that's the same with everyone. Some people, some different fighters, I think. Some people will say, yes, it's a sport and I'm competing, and it's a sport and I'm just doing it for money or fame, or to me, it's a fight. It's a fight. I still work. I still have a family. I still have a life. Until I'm being paid 100 grand, then I'll coast through fights and I'll do just enough to win rounds. As it stands, it's a fight. We're going in there to finish each other. This is my passion. This is what I want to do full time as my job, as my main income. So for me to get there, for me to get Dana White talking about me, I need to finish fights. I need to finish fights and look good doing it. So there's no point in me edging wins or takedowns in the last 20 seconds to win the round. I need to knock people out. You know yourself, Uncle Dana, you could have the best record in the world, but if you're not finishing guys and people are not wanting to pay to see you fight, then he doesn't give a shit. And I completely agree. I understand it and I agree with it. I'm not saying we all have to be Justin Gaethje and just come out and just go rock 'em, sock 'em and just try and destroy everybody. But it's entertainment at the end of the day. It's a fight. People are coming, especially this fight. I've sold a lot of tickets every fight I've ever had. A good amount of tickets. I've only lived in Perth. I've lived in Perth for coming up 7 years now. So I am. When I was new to the city, I still sold good fights because people would look at the previous fight and go, "Fair play." He comes out. He puts his heart on his sleeve, and he comes out to fight. We're not going to see a wrestling match, or if you want to see a wrestling match, then we'll go and we'll watch wrestling or judo and props to all them guys. Them guys are tough. It's an MMA fight. It's an MMA fight match, whatever you want to call it. But it's a fight at the end of the day. It's a fight. We come here to fight. One person wins, one person loses. I'd be happy to have 100% finish record than to coast and win on points. So that's my opinion. Other people will disagree, but it's entertainment. People, my friends, my people are coming to pay good money to be entertained. We're entertainers at the end of the day. We train hard. We put a lot into it, but you get a lot out of it as well. So I can't remember what your question was. What was the question? What was the question, John?
The psychological edge. Well, you explained it really well. You know what I mean? Your psychological edge is like, you're going to go in there, even though I finished him before, I'm going to finish him again. That's basically what you're saying. It's
you
like,
have to.
that's your mindset.
Yeah.
But you understand his side too at the same time.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. That's obviously I do that every fight. I look to finish, but that's where I was coming back to. I went on a bit of a ramble there. But if he's in the same mindset as me, which I believe he is, having someone beat you, and the cost of the same. So look at it as this: America is running the show. MMA. It is what it is. Europe's got a good scene. Australia is coming up, especially with the New Zealand guys, absolutely taking over as it seems right now. But you want you to lose to the same guy in your own city. Never mind Fight Island. Never mind Europe, England, Vegas. If you've lost to the same person in your own city, to me, that's without saying the end of the road, but I wouldn't say that actually. I wouldn't say the end of the road, because styles make fights, different stylistic people can make fights. But I know if it was me, when it was me on the other foot and I'd lost to Nick and I came to fight Nick again, I had it in my head, no matter what happens to me tonight, I cannot lose this fight. My whole life depends on this next 15 minutes. And it sounds dramatic, but I had a couple of close friends. One of my friends, Lee Carpenter, I phoned him and I explained this to him, and he understood, and he said, I get it. I get what you're saying. It sounds, you can't say that to many people, but you lose to the same. If I had lost to Nick that night, my star would have gone out so much, and the flame would have gone out, I think, for the sport to a degree. If you can't beat the same person who lives less than half an hour from you, how are you expected to go to America and fight the top guys? Or there's top guys in the UK, there's top guys all over. If you can't beat, unless, that's my opinion. So I know he's gonna come hard and he's gonna bring it, and he'll leave everything in there that night, and I hope he does, because that's what I'm gonna do. So it makes for an exciting night, to be honest.
That's why we do these interviews, man. That's why Jack did the interview. That's why you're doing it. Build up the fight. Yeah. I think it's a great fight. Now, with your mindset, and of course Jack, his mindset is to finish the fight just like yours. What do you believe separates you from Jack?
I know straight away what separates us. How much do you want to give up in interviews that we're all watching, and then we're all, do you know what I mean? But I think I'm a better stand-up fighter than Jack all day long. Just looking at his previous fights, I know there's been a few comments come out that Jack thinks I'm very sloppy, and if that's what he thinks, that's what I hope for him to think. That's what I want him to think. But we're improving so much. Every fight I've had, every fight camp, you improve and you work on different things. I took up MMA just to keep fit so many years ago, and you just excelled in it, and you just got better, and then you got offered a fight, bang, and you fought. If you went back to my first fight, it was, if you said to me your first couple of fights were sloppy, I'd say, yeah, fair enough. But it's different things. He says I'm sloppy. I think he's slow, and he's there, and he's such a big target to hit. I just don't know how he's not going to be eating so many shots. If he doesn't eat some big shots, then I don't know what I'm seeing. I must be delusional, because he's just got a big head and he's there in front of you the whole time, and I'm like, that's what I'm good at, doing this. pinpoint in your face, and you stay there in front of people, and he walks people down, and I'm like, that's not going to work with someone that doesn't walk back, and you can't intimidate somebody to walk back and put pressure on someone when pressure's coming back at you. So I really think it's a good stylistic fight, and it's pressure. He's going to come, he backs up, but then he comes forward, and I'm going to come forward. So yeah, I think it makes for a good fight. How I think I'm going to beat him, I think he's going to be, his ego's going to take over, and he's going to try and stand. That's what I feel. But I've trained for him. I've trained for everything anyway, but I don't think he will. I don't think he will want to stand. I think he will. He want to take it to the ground. But that's, like I say, I'm working with some top people, and yeah, we're planning for everything. And I just hope he comes with the ferocity and the fight that he says he's going to bring, and that he has in other fights as well. Props to him, because he does bring it. He's not saying this and making it up. He's not just talking something and fighting something else. But I just hope he brings it when we fight. That's the main thing.
Do you see this fight going out of the first round? How long do you think he'll last with you?
Oh, good question. Depends how much he backs up. If he doesn't back up, if he starts to wrestle, he's obviously tired, and he can't stand. So depends if he stands. If he's still on our feet and we're still both there, we've both got fitness. I don't think I haven't been out there. I think Jack's the only person to take me out the second round myself, and even that, I don't know how he done it. The ref was doing him favours. He should have been finishing the second. He got saved by the ball in the first fight. Second round, I'd say second round. First round, it's going to be some hard shots flying in, and there's going to be some bombs landing, and then that's where all the talking's done. That's where all the hype, the one knock on against Jack is the guys that he's fought some guys that I just think he shouldn't have fought. He's been brought forward very well. He's been managed very well up to now. So you can walk forward with guys that you're comfortable with, but can you do that against the higher level guys? I don't think so. But he may see if he can prove me wrong. Yeah. Obviously you spoke to Jack a few times, and you know Jack reasonably well. Have you looked at the guys that he fought in the past?
Of course. I've seen all the guys. I think I've talked to Jack about 3 times. Every time he defended his title, basically. Yeah, and
nice.
You know, he's fought some decent competition. I mean, it's not like they just brought in guys that did not deserve a shot. You know what I mean? It's just, I think stylistically, he was just the favorite in all of the fights. You know what I mean? I think that's what it was most of the time. But this fight is much more different, because you have faced him in the past. You have time in the ring against him. You have beaten him. And you have also faced guys that he has faced. And all of that put together makes this a great fight. And, you know, and Jack is on an incredible run. And then you could beat him and take that hype too. And at the same time, take the belt, which is double, you know, that's double whammy right there.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly, you just summed it up in, we all have our visions. There's a lot of mental work to fight in. And you just said it then. Like, there's going to be people that say you don't deserve the fight, you don't fight for a title on a loss, and I completely agree. If it wasn't for the COVID, I wouldn't be pushing for that. I'd ask for it, but I wouldn't expect anything back. But it's just the way it is. Life happens like this sometimes, and 1 minute you've lost everything you've worked for. Next minute you've got an opportunity, and everyone in life, everyone in the world, especially right now, if you get an opportunity, you've got to take it. You got to fucking take every last inch of your life to win the opportunities that come. Because they don't come very often. This stuff doesn't happen. So, and I believe that I should have had the title years ago. So, So to me, it's just meant to be. It's meant to be. I see me beating Jack. I see me finishing Jack, and I see me taking the title. And there'll be a lot of unhappy people, but that's what it is. There'll be unhappy people, and there'll be happy people. So yeah, it makes for a good fight. It makes for a good fight. But at the end of the day, we're all pushing. We're pushing to be the best. You want to be the best of. I don't care. What it is. I want to be the best. So if Jack's in the way, I need to take Jack out, take the belt. What's next? Who else is there? There's a few guys on my radar. So yeah, I don't like to talk about anyone until you fight, until you match what's in front of you. But there's a few guys on my radar that I'm keeping a close eye on. So yeah, it makes for a good fight. It's a good opportunity. Bloody hell, there's people really struggling in the world right now, and we're fortunate to be fighting. I'm fighting for a title, and with all my friends and family and all my family in the UK. Everyone gets this. Watch it live on Fight Pass. You're gonna have UFC scouts there. You're gonna have a lot of eyes on this fight. Straight away, the tickets that got sold is twice as fast and as many as any other tickets that have sold for fights. So yeah, it makes for a good fight. I think if you're in Perth or you've got UFC Fight Pass, tune in, because it's gonna be a war. I can just see it now. I'm already allowing my body to be in recovery for after this fight. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough fight, and that's what I prefer. That's what I enjoy. I've won fights before when I've not even worked up a sweat. I've not even been hit, and I finished the fight and I'm annoyed. I'm fuming. You've worked so hard for something and it's over. I want a war. If it goes 5 rounds, if it goes back and forth for 5 rounds, and the people get what they pay for. I don't think it will. I wouldn't expect it, but I'm ready for it. Yeah, so.
Man, October 10th, Eternal MMA 53 main event, welterweight titles on the line in Perth. Aldin, appreciate the time, man. It was a incredible chat.
Cheers.
I'm surprised we never did this before, but hey, man, many more in the future.
100%. When I've got the bout and do you want to drop me a call, we'll have a chat.